welcome back to Hinkson Christian Podcast.
Thanks, Moses.
Welcome back, you guys. Episode 26.
Oh, dude, so many.
Today we have two very special guests,
The moms.
Miss G and my mom.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thank you for
coming
having
on.
us.
Fantastic.
Excited to be here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for announcements, this is the last week of school before spring break.
That's
Yes.
pretty lit.
So yeah, the third quarter just ended. Just get through this week and then you can have a break.
A week.
And also, we are also taking a break, which means this will be the last episode
Before
until
spring break.
Until it ends spring break. So.
Never an actual break happens, we're taking a break because that's
Yep.
what we're doing. Okay.
All right, and then the other announcement is we're now selling T-shirts.
What? We have
So-
merch.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but we have these awesome T-shirts.
I already
Right.
got
with
my
this
order.
You're
slick,
dude, there you
clean
go.
design
You can get black, you can get blue
Yep.
for 1,000.
for only 1,000 rubles.
That's
Yes.
it. That's a pretty good deal for a shirt.
So if you'd
I'm
like
getting
one,
Yeah.
just talk to us and we'll work it out for
We'll work
you.
it out, man.
Great.
Epic.
Okay. So now we're going to get into the Q&A.
We asked you Instagram people for questions.
Yes.
Yes.
We have 6 questions. First question: what have you learned from your mistakes?
Oh, that's a real.
Oh.
That's the first question.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
that's deep
deep.
questions. I thought it was gonna be like, what did you have for breakfast this
That
morning?
I got that one.
No,
Yeah.
Chuck's Instagram followers don't play. Okay.
I've learned that it's not the end of the world, that you can move on, and that you can grow, and it's okay. Took me a long time though. Took me
Oh,
a
yeah.
long time to learn that.
So Tumblr.
Yeah, I think I've learned to be a lot easier on myself.
Oh.
And because I've become easier on myself, I'm learning to be easier on other people as well. So I feel like it has given me a lot more grace for people and helped me to not freak out so much.
There you go. That's
Wow.
that's a good thing to learn. Shoot.
Yeah, in my 20s, it was hang on to everything and, oh no, I made this mistake, it's all ruined.
Panic now.
But in my 30s, I started to own those. In my 40s, it's like,
Right.
it's all right.
It's all gonna work out at the end.
Being more forgiving to yourself. I see.
And forgiving for others too.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Hinkson?
Oh. As teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as teachers and parents, really. Like,
Oh, yeah,
when I
yeah.
first came to Hinkson, I had to answer this recently. Someone asked me this question. And when I first came there, it's a little overwhelming because we had just moved to Moscow. It was in 2014, so that was a while back. And you're trying to get your bearings. You're excited about all the new things, but yet you don't know enough to
No.
be able to really function. You feel like a child. You don't know the language. You don't know
You
where
don't know
you're
nothing.
going.
You don't know
Yeah, it's
nothing.
pretty
Yeah.
basic. And I can remember getting, we had all our ducks in a row. We got all the paperwork in, check mark, we got it. But still not knowing how to still function as an adult responsible for kids. So on my way out the door, I remember this one teacher, she says, "Oh, you're a new family." I said, "Yes." She's like, "If you ever need anything, here's my number and you can call me anytime." And she bailed us out a few times to be able to find different places in Moscow. So what I like the most about Hinkson is that we are our own little community, take care of each other. It really does feel like family.
Yeah.
Wow.
What were you, Mrs. Frecka?
I think my favorite thing is my students.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
nice.
I really, like, honestly, you guys are why I'm there. And it's a lot of work, like, especially writing a new class and all of that, but I get a lot of joy from it. And my favorite time at school is when I'm in the classroom with you guys.
That's touching.
Wow.
Behave, be nice.
Yeah, so be nice,
Yeah,
guys. I'm
please.
trying. I really am trying.
Yeah. All right. The third question is, what are some changes you would like to see at school?
Oh, he's putting us in the spot.
Yeah.
This is not set in
Okay.
stone. You got an admin here.
Way to get me in trouble, guys.
No. You can constructively criticize
Oh,
things.
yes,
Okay.
we would like our students to do their homework every day and turn it in on time.
Yeah.
Those are some
Well, that
major
that would be a big one, yeah.
dream.
Oh, gosh, that's a
advice.
hard question. I have to think
Changes
for a
at
second.
Hinkson.
Oh, we're thinking.
How do you change perfection? No.
Hey.
Well, okay, we could all dream for just endless supplies and the things that we need and the
Okay.
technology and all those things. But honestly, if the relationships aren't great, you can have all the smart boards and stuff you want, and it's not going to make any difference. So, I don't know, the changes that we make are just kind of bonus, really, when you have a good foundation of just quality people that, like Mrs. Frecka said, that want to be there and want to invest, and you have kids that actually want to show up and stay after school, just like school is out, go home, and they're still
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what just makes it. That's why we love Hinkson and we love what we do. So changes, sure, we can get some more toys, I suppose. But,
Yeah.
Get a smart board. Boom.
yeah.
Smart board.
Epic change.
I would like some expo markers though. Anybody out there?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's my biggest first. I mean, the kids know every time in class. It's
The
like, are you
markers
kidding me?
Like, this one doesn't work. But see, you can't throw it away because sometimes
works.
every other
Yeah.
Monday
It kind of
might.
You
works.
never know.
Yeah.
No, we need to clean out our markers and our
Teacher
ribbons. It's
pet
really bad.
peeves.
Yeah,
That's such a teacher pet
that
peeve.
could be a
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. There's so much good that's there. I mean, the fact that I have to keep my kids from going too early and then push them to go home after, like that says a lot.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is we have amazing teachers who are really committed to being there and are there because they really love the kids. What I would love to see is more teachers
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
that are not just there like because they have to be to get a discount or whatever, but teachers that really want to be there because they want to be there long term and they want to
Yeah.
invest in the school for years and not just
Right.
because
Right.
they got to
Yeah.
fill some time or something. So I would
Yeah.
love to see more of that. The other thing is I have this dream,
Oh no.
and if we can ever find
She
a very
has a
wealthy
dream, y'all.
sponsor who wants to pay for this, that would be fantastic.
Uh-huh.
But I have a dream of a cafeteria on the first floor
On the first floor.
with a full stage with a backstage at one end.
Oh, this is what Chuck was.
Because we have so many talented students to
Yes.
showcase their talents and to have plays and to
Yes.
have concerts and so that's my dream, and there are a million bureaucratic hoops that we would have to jump through and miracles that would have to take place, but I'm holding on to my dream.
That's a beautiful
someday
vision.
someday
That's
we're going to
nice.
have a play on our stage.
Dude, we've gotten the gym through a bunch of miracles.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it
true.
took like 15 years. So,
Yeah.
so it might take a while.
Your
Yeah.
dream will
My-
take that long.
You're planting the
That's my
seed.
dream.
We're planting the seed. It's 2020. Let's
Exactly.
20.
So someday, when
35.
I'm old and in the grave,
Yeah.
we will have.
Hear,
We will
hear
have my
this,
stage.
sponsors?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll name it the Rachel Frecka stage. Or
There you
something.
go.
I don't
There
know.
you go. No, I support that fully.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, we have a lot of talent at our school, and we're lucky that we have this thing called Coffee House that we can hang out with you guys and see all the talent that we get to enjoy. But to have a stage where we can do that more often,
Yeah.
that would be lovely. Good dream. I like that one.
Thanks.
Epic.
All right, fourth question. How's life in Russia?
Mm.
As a
Awesome.
teacher
Oh.
parent.
Yeah.
That's a
Let's
tough
get in
one.
trouble with the government too.
Yeah, no,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, you have to understand. I've been here 20 years, so
yeah.
this is home for me now. And I mean, there's no place on earth that's more home for me. Even though I really miss the state sometimes, and I want to go back and go to Walmart and Target and all that. But I think we all can agree that right now is kind of a tough time. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on, and people are nervous, and times are hard. But I think at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I think
Yeah, I agree with that.
you know.
I agree with
There's
that.
problems everywhere. There's struggles everywhere, but this is home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming home for me. So you've been here a lot longer, but I've been here 6 years. My kids, of course, have been here 6 years, and we were just talking about that recently. Like when Simon goes back, he will have been here a third of his life. When Andy goes back, it's half of his life.
Yeah.
So most of their memorable, formidable years are in Russia, and so that's become home. And I've asked my kids how they feel about that, and it is challenging to transition back. And I was thinking about myself when I transition back, if things go according to plan, that'll be 10 years. That's a significant chapter. So I've made this my home, and yes, things are challenging, they're tricky, but again, I think it's who you surround yourself with. I've as much as I love Hinkson and it's a wonderful place, I've had to get out of that bubble as well and just go explore some of Russia and make Russian friends, which is tricky because it's great that they're here in the summer when a lot of our students and staff goes home, so I have a solid group of friends when I stay for the summer, but it's challenging because I know I'll have to leave in a few years. So that for me is the difficult things with Russia. I've gotten past the, difficult to find Ziploc bags and things like that, like all that stuff. Like you that first year, you're like, wait, they don't have what and what and what. You learn how to cook differently. You learn all the things that you need to do. So that's, I don't miss any of those conveniences of home anymore. I used to, but it was very short-lived. So you can adapt really quickly to any place, really. But it's the relationships that's the most challenging for me. And anytime we have difficulties with our governments or with just life in general, that's the kind of anxiety that gets with me, because I wouldn't want to have to say goodbye earlier. That's what stresses me out.
I see. How about like the Russian language? I've heard that some people, like even Chinese people, actually like have trouble with learning Russian because of how complex and how many rules it has. Like, how is that an obstacle?
Well, I know hers is really
I
hard.
think the biggest difference is that I did not have the luxury when I first lived in Russia of living in a place with other Americans.
Right.
And so I think that is one downside to being in Moscow or being in the Hinkson community, is that you really aren't forced to have to speak Russian. And so when you're living in a city where, in Perm it was like 40 below in the winter and dark all day long.
You better learn it.
And if you didn't build relationships with people, you just weren't going to survive. And we didn't have, back in the day, we didn't even have like shopping centers. Like I had to go to the outdoor market in 40 below and go from stall to stall and ask, I need 40 eggs, or I need, and I cannot tell you how many, and we even had these cool little plastic box container things where you put your little eggs in them and you close it up like a briefcase. But I cannot tell you how hard it was those first couple of years just to survive. But if you didn't learn Russian, you weren't going to. And so there was no choice. I remember like my third year here, I started working with teenagers and I'd have to call their parents. And every time I'd have to call a parent on the phone, like I would be literally in an anxiety attack beforehand because it's over the phone
You can't see their mouth
and
moving.
so if you're in that kind of environment, you're going to learn it, and you're going to learn it pretty quickly. But it's a lot harder here. We go to the movies in English, we go to the mall and everything's in English. We're all with our American friends, and so you could live here 30 years and never learn the language, and it would be
or fluent kids like you guys impress me how many languages you guys can do it. And like kids doing 3 languages and doing 2 schools sometimes. It's really impressive what the students can do, and I'm just trudging slowly through the Russian language. I'm functional. But I had a little bit of head start because I studied a little bit in the States, and then I was here. So, but even still, what I thought I knew in the States when I came here, I'm like, slow down! I can't understand you. I didn't even understand like the metro announcements. Oh my goodness! I remember first time a friend of mine says, "Okay, you're gonna take a bus to my place. It's 13 stops." I'm like, 13 stops? Because she counted for me so that I wouldn't get lost, because if you get off in the wrong spot, now what do?
You better not lose count.
I know. I got so nervous.
a lot of counting.
I got so nervous about counting that I had a scrap of paper and I would literally rip a little corner 13 times because I was terrified of getting lost. That was my first year. So yeah, it was motivating to at least learn functional Russian. But now I would like some depth to be able to really talk to somebody at a deep level and have a conversation. And so I'm motivated in a different way. I have Russian lessons after this podcast today. But unfortunately, my friend who's teaching me speaks fluent English, so I can cheat all the time. And I cheat all the time. So I've learned to make friends with people who speak no English. And I have a friend at my dance studio, and so I've made a point of walking to the metro with her every time and trying to talk the best we can. And we have to pull out our phones for a word or two, but we're getting it done, and that's more meaningful to me. So
That's great.
All right. What do you think about the coronavirus?
Oh, no.
Great question.
I actually heard somebody posted something on Facebook yesterday that I really appreciated. There's all of this, debate right now about quarantine versus not quarantine. Is this as serious as they're making it out? Is it not? Should we be allowed to go to church? Should we not? And somebody from the States posted something that I thought it was a message to their church about why they would not be having services. And I thought they made a really good point in that, like they thought about it and they thought, what's the most loving thing in this situation? And they decided that the most loving thing would be to avoid any potential of anyone else getting infected and to just stay home. And I thought, like, to me, that's wise. It's not a fear thing. It's not like, oh, it's the end of the world. Like, I do think there is an overreaction. I mean, everybody sees the pictures on Facebook right now of the empty toilet paper shelves.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, so I think the world has gone mad to a certain extent. But I think, too, that there's just a practical side where it's like, okay, we have a problem. People are getting sick. Let's take the steps that we need to take to avoid spreading it, and then let's move on.
Calm.
You know? Yeah, like, I think it's serious, but I think that we can all relax a little bit and just take the measures that they're asking us to take.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind staying home a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm good with that, girl. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. No one wants to be wrong about, oh, it's fine, and then someone
And
gets
it's not
hurt.
fine.
Yeah, no one wants to be wrong. So you can take it too far where you're actually doing more harm than good.
Right.
And so I agree that we need to, of course, wash your hands. Of course. How many times have I told you, boys, wash your
If you're
hands?
sick,
It's
stay home.
Yeah, stay
Yeah.
home. Don't
This has
hack
always
a
been
little
the
bit.
rule, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's always been in place. It's common sense. What I think about the coronavirus is, and what affects me, because the social emotional component is always on my heart. And what bothers me is the fear of the look of certain people. So, oh, they're Asian. I don't know. That kind of anxiety where we are isolating people because of how they look bothers me greatly. And I've heard one of our students was at a store, Asian, and someone came up to her and said, oh, coronavirus. That bothers me greatly. And so those kind of things, the ignorance in our community and the racial profiling, those kinds of things really set me off. So yes, we need to be practical. Yes, we need to be cautious. Yes, you need to pay attention to where you're traveling and how the virus spreads. Of course, all these things are true. But we need to be kind to each other and not suspicious of everyone. Because honestly, a lot of people that have it aren't Asian anymore.
The only people on the planet that I personally know who have the coronavirus are Europeans.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah. So
it,
I don't know. So we'd be suspicious of everybody. I don't. But
well,
but
no,
I mean,
but
just
there's no. I mean, there's. This is not a racial. This is not a
No.
racial sickness. It's
Yeah.
just a sickness.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's frustrating to me. And you guys know my background too, with like just racial things in my childhood. That bothers me a lot. So I just common sense. I agree with Mrs. Frecka. Absolutely common sense and just kindness to one another. I think we'll be okay.
I think most of the fear of this virus comes from two things. One, you could have it and have no symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you could feel fine, but you have it and you're spreading it.
yeah.
Two, this thing could mutate and get worse.
Yeah.
And so we don't know anything. That's where the
Right.
fear's
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I mean, I think that's the bottom line is we don't know anything. Like we don't know what, countries are shutting down. People are being forced to stay home. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But I think that there is the side of it where we, with the beliefs and the worldview that we have to trust that it's under control, and that that none of this is a surprise.
Right.
At the end of the day, these things happen, but we have to trust and we have to understand that our lives are not in our hands anyway. I mean, I'm probably more likely to be hit by a car crossing the street than I am, half of the things that we avoid in our lives or that we fear in our lives.
Let's
And
not do that
so,
either.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, we could be afraid of everything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
ultimately it's in hands other than ours, and
Yeah.
we
And
can trust in that.
And we don't want to make light of things, but I'm thankful sometimes for just a little bit of humor injected into it, just to kind of calm it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've shared this with some of the kids, but I saw on Facebook in Texas it had like a poster for the hand washing. You know how we have like 12 steps to wash your hands, and it's important. Get all that off. But I mean, when you're following the steps, it's really boring, and you got to make sure you get every nook and cranny of your hands in 20 seconds and all that stuff. But they had a different approach. They said, wash your hands as if you've been slicing jalapenos for some nachos, and you need to take your contacts out. I was like, okay, yeah, I got that. Get under the nails, yeah. So I do appreciate just a little bit of humor so that we can all get through this and not. It's It's not just the virus. It's the secondary issue of depression and things where people are feeling isolated. I'm an extrovert to the max. You make me stay home for a couple of weeks, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to be calling everybody. I'll have a schedule. We need to talk. We need to have a conversation. So it's those issues, or people who have gotten sick and then they worry about, well, was I the one that passed it to this person? Or those things. So we're kind of flushing out some underlying issues, and those. The domino effect is what's more concerning. And also, like Mrs. Frecka said, with the stores being sold out, well, that gives a lot of people anxiety when you see you can't even buy the basics. Oh my gosh, what's happening? So people who are prone to worry and stress and anxiety, it's not helping. So we just need to, again, just be kind to each other, help each other out, and we'll be okay.
All right.
Last question.
Let's do the last question. This is for Mrs. Frecka.
Oh, okay.
And the question is, name your 5 favorite things about Mr. Frecka.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wonder who sent in the question.
Mr. Frecka?
Yeah.
Good one.
Okay, my first thing is that he makes me laugh.
He makes everyone dude. He makes
He says that he doesn't anymore because I don't laugh at his jokes, but it's the same jokes for the last 20 years. So, he makes me laugh. The other thing that I love about him is that every single morning, no matter what's going on in our lives, first thing in the morning, I see him in his bed with his Bible open. And that gives me an incredible amount of security, knowing that I have a husband who first and foremost puts God first and his life. A third thing that I love is that after that, he puts his family first, always. And no matter what needs we have, no matter what struggles we may be going through, I know that the first thought on his mind is taking care of us, and he will do whatever it takes. And so that's 3. Right?
Yeah.
4, I think he's an excellent father, and he balances me out, because if it were just me, they would get away with murder. But because I'm not very consistent. I'm way too mercy-hearted, and I just would let everything slide. But he balances me out and does a really good job of raising our kids. And the last one, I'm proud of the way that he's respected by others. I mean, I see when he walks into a room and the way that he relates with people well, and makes people feel comfortable, and he commands a lot of respect, and I'm proud of that.
You guys need to make like a little note under your podcast that he needs to pay attention to minute number whatever it is.
Yeah. We'll tag him and we'll be like, this time's
Yeah.
And if you're looking for a man to look up to as an example, he's a good one.
All right, well, that's it for the Q&A. Thank you for all the questions.
Those are good questions.
Yeah, good questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're getting into comment time. We have 2 comments.
Only 2 comments. Thank you, Esther, for both of the comments.
Thank you, Esther. Yeah. She's carrying it this time.
Carrying it, okay.
Short hair versus long hair.
This is for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Charlie would be like...
Yeah.
Okay,
We've tried both of these, so...
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 sides to this. I mean, short hair is very comfortable. It's easier to dry.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't need to style it.
It's easy to do everything.
Yeah, like it's very comfortable. But it looks so bad. I miss my long soft hair. I miss being able to run my fingers through my hair.
You're bald. Bro.
Yeah, it's like now I try to there's just nothing there. So yeah, I prefer the way it looks with long hair by a lot. But when it's short, it's really comfortable. So it really just depends on what you like.
Maintenance, just out the door in 5 minutes.
There was a point where I had like super duper omega long hair.
Yeah.
Taking care of that every morning, you don't. You just don't.
So this is short hair for you.
Yeah, normally. And then I remember like getting a fresh haircut from Chuck's place.
Yeah.
That I didn't have to like. It's just you wake up and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You understand, right?
Yeah.
Like you should wake up and move.
Yeah.
It's so nice. But like at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you think, Moses?
I mean, I've been more of a fan of a long hair.
You've had this hair
For
your whole life.
forever, and I've never like actually paid a lot of attention of like making my hair or style it, because I just run my hand through my hair.
It's like done, styled.
and it's done. So I probably prefer long hair more than short hair, just for looks.
You should go bald like Charlie just for like
Yeah.
just for me.
Yeah, just for the comfort.
What about you?
Well, when you're a girl, I think it can be a little bit different. Like
Yeah.
long hair means ponytails.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
when it's long, you don't have to do anything. You just put it in ponytail
Yep.
and you go.
Mm.
Short, you've got to
You gotta work with
do
it.
all this stuff to
You
make
gotta
it
work
sit
with
right.
it.
Mm.
Right.
That's
Short hair on me is a fro, like for real,
Okay,
and it's
look.
not a cute fro when you wake up either. So it's like you have to that means product, like you know, no. So long hair gives me a lot more options, so I like that. But it
Yeah.
is hot, like with as much hair as I have in the summer, super hot. So like. It can be beautiful down, but I don't wear it down in the summer. So, but in the winter, however, Insta scarf. You just wrap it around your neck and you're good
Dude,
to
when
go.
it's unleashed, it's just so much.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have so much
You
hair.
have seen the full
The full potential.
wrap of my
full
hair.
power.
Yeah, like sometimes I do
This
that
was
just to be
it.
scary. Come on, let's go, let's go. So,
It's an intimidation tactic.
yeah, how big can I make this fro? So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Great question, Esther. That last question.
Okay, what was the last thing that made you cry?
Great
Oh.
question.
Thanks a lot, Esther.
Wow.
Okay, you're trying to depress us. Last time it was, what's your first crush or something?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Esther's,
remember that.
Esther's glued to her seat. Okay,
Yeah.
who's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
take
yeah.
it on?
I can start. We watched the movie about Mr. Rogers a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to watch
nice.
that.
And
Jeez.
I mean, it was kind of a slow moving film, but it was a beautiful movie. But what made me want to cry was not the movie itself, but the nostalgia of being a child raised on Mr. Rogers. I mean, it was like I knew Mr. Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was the guy next
You did
door.
too, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every day, 3:30 after
Yeah.
school. 3
Oh,
o'clock
yeah.
was Sesame Street.
That's
3:30 was
That's
Mr.
right.
Rogers.
Absolutely.
And he shaped us. He shaped our generation. I mean, as much as he could, he had a lot of things he was fighting against. But
Yeah.
I think honestly, if it weren't for Mr. Rogers, our generation could have been a mess.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
He-
we I don't know. A lot of times, you know, we were babysit by the TV while mom and dad are doing other things or whatever. So we had good quality television. I can't imagine if we had choices now, like cable, 50 channels, you know, 90 channels or whatever. That would have
Well,
been.
even the stuff kids watch now, it's not the same. It's not
Yeah.
that same level
It's
of
not quality.
values and quality.
It's not Mr. Rogers.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's not. He was one of a kind.
Yeah, we actually had an attention span back there because it was slow moving.
Yeah.
Like stuff actually happened in real time. There was like no edits and cuts and you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had good educational television. It's funny though because when I taught U.S. history, I brought some of the Sesame Street stuff back into it because I was looking for things to model.
Oh, yeah.
Sesame Street taught U.S. history. I was like, really?
Wow.
So we learned. Some
Oh yeah,
things,
we used to watch Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Learned all about
No,
the
people
government.
still watch
and-
Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that's
Yeah.
timeless, but
Yeah.
So it was a tearjerker.
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, not like a sad movie,
Yeah.
like beautiful.
Okay.
Like,
it was touching.
Wow. Yeah,
It was
it was
touching.
touching. It was a good movie. I recommend it. It was a good movie.
Okay,
Who wants to take the
well,
next bullet?
okay. I don't generally get weepy in front of people. Like that's my thing. I try to just like weep to the side. Like that.
Get
But
your weeps out
one
there,
time,
yeah.
one time, I almost got caught like on stage. So this year, you guys, if you saw the play,
Oh, Buster Pluto.
A Bust of Pluto, yeah. Simon, it was about Simon's life, and so it was just way too personal, as if Simon was in the future or whatever. And so they gave me a small part to play Simon's mother, of course. And then they killed my son. I'm like, really? Like, really? What are you doing to me? So I was like, that's just so not cool. And they gave me a couple lines to say, and I, not being an actress at all, Simon comes by that on his own, just said, well, I'll just respond as if. That was a bad idea. Like
You're method acting this.
yeah, I did the
Wow.
method acting approach, and so when I was on stage, I just responded as if, and I almost lost it on stage. So I generally weep to the side, and I almost did it in front of everybody. So it was like, so
I mean,
So
it
it would have
would
been
be
like,
good
wow,
acting.
she's an amazing actor.
well, that's
Yeah.
that's what happened when I
Wow.
came to class. One of my students says, "You almost made me cry." It was a guy. He says, "You almost made me cry." I said, "Me too. I didn't know." It's like, you know, so that was really difficult because, and I think part of it was because my uncle had just died in a car accident, and that's
Oh.
what happened. So it was like a double whammy. I was like, "This was not a good plan."
A little close to home.
Yeah, and
Little
so
close.
when I sat down in the audience, the lady behind me, she's like, "That was hard for you, wasn't it?" I was like, "Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
stop talking to me." So, like,
I see.
so So yeah, that was, but it was also a very special moment for me. And so shout out to Anton who wrote that script. I'm very thankful that he cast me in that, because acting has been something that's been really, really cool and amazing for me to watch my son do. And so to be on stage for his last hurrah, his senior year, has meant a lot to me. And this would make me cry too, so I will stop.
Oh my God,
so.
you're good. Okay, all right, Chuck, your turn.
So maybe about like a month ago, I was just really tired of school and just life and keeping up with everything, and I just laid in my bed and I just cried for a while.
Yeah.
But as with most times, it makes me feel better. It just lets it all out. And so I cried for a bit, and then I pulled myself together, went to school the next day, and everything was fine. So
It's like a
healthy.
cleansing rain. Just wash it off.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Now everyone knows men don't cry. We just sweat from our eyes.
Yeah.
It's just eye sweat.
who's cutting onions?
Yeah. It's fine. It's our eyes working out. Getting ripped.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have emotions, so I don't really cry.
Do you need some help with that?
What made me cry? I guess also like what Chuck said is similar.
Yeah.
Like there was one day I just came home from school, and it's just like I was, because my mom and my brother were doing something else, so I was just there, and I just was at the window, so looking, and I'm just like, it's just one of those moments where you're just like, what am I doing? I was having a lot of issues with my spiritual life because I had trouble reading the Bible, and my relationship with God could be better. I'm just kind of doing the same thing and over, and it's like, well, great. And I just kind of sat there thinking about it for a bit. Yeah, that's what happened.
Well, thanks for sharing.
And the next day I was fine because I was recording a podcast. Anyway,
All right.
Yeah, good friends are important.
Yeah, good friends are important.
I actually don't remember the last time I cried, but I remember there's one significant event when I think I was in middle school.
Oh, wow,
maybe
that's a long time
early
ago.
maybe early high school, when I think I remember when my brother, my dad, my mom and I went to the airport with my brother, and that was the when my brother graduated and had to go to the Korean university. And that was very memorable because it was a farewell to my brother, and a big step for my brother to take. And so I remember crying that day.
Yeah.
I'll probably have a similar thing soon.
Oh, come on! Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
New topic.
We're done.
They
All
didn't
right.
cry.
Thank you for the comments, Esther.
Yeah, Esther.
Please
Esther.
leave more comments, viewers. We need more than 2.
All right, so that's it for comment time. Now we've got our guest topic.
Yeah.
Generations. More specifically, Gen X. The forgotten generation.
Mrs. Frecka.
The forgotten.
The starting because Mrs. Frecka was said she was deeply offended.
I am deeply offended.
That Gen X is forgotten.
How does this generation not even know that we existed,
Yeah.
Oh, dude, people in your generation.
We were a little
don't know that.
underwhelming.
I kind of had to remember what our name was, so
Yeah.
I forgot to.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of labels for generations now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but we keep getting called boomers. And I understand. I understand the whole joke. I get it.
Yeah.
We're kind of old and everything, but Gen X was a great generation.
I think so. Yeah, we had good music.
we
You all
had
are just
amazing
discovering our
music.
music.
Oh,
had good-
hey.
we had awesome music.
Yeah.
We had good artists
man.
too.
Yeah. We had great
That actually
music.
sang without auto tune.
Yeah.
We talked about this 2 episodes ago.
We had good movies, really good movies.
Well, sometimes, now here's the thing. I went to try to show my kids some of the movies I watched, and I was like, I don't remember that part. Pause, leave the room, come back.
Part of the issue is that all of our movies, if you watch them on television, they were edited.
Correct, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we watched all these movies growing up on television.
Correct.
And then we rented them to show our children, not realizing that they had been seriously edited for television.
Wow.
Yes.
So
There were
that's
some-
happened a few times.
Some
but
words.
yeah, many words. I remember when the kids were little and I got Space Camp.
Oh.
And I was so excited to show them the movie Space Camp because that was my movie. I was going to go to Space Camp.
Yeah.
It's really silly now that I think about it. But I put it on and I was like, oh
my. Oh,
sorry guys. Still
Mine
pretty
was
movie, though.
Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 when my kids were little because I liked the idea of space travel, but there's stuff in there. There's a whole lot of stuff in there not appropriate for 8 and 10 years
But
old.
we had great movies, Clue and Neverending Story,
Yeah.
and of course all the Star Wars, original Star Wars. Those were ours.
They were ours. Okay.
Yes. Hey, don't forget.
You are borrowing them, all right? Because you haven't come up with a better idea. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's true though.
I mean, hey, we've got like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
and-
You do.
No, that's
You
not better.
I mean, it's good though.
Yeah.
Fine.
It's pretty good.
It is good.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, Disney's trying to remake all our stuff like into something else. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? What are you doing?
No,
Leave it alone. It was fine.
It was
Yeah.
fine the way it
Touching
was.
it.
Yeah.
But
That's true.
yeah, I mean there were a lot of great things about our generation. There was, like I said, some underwhelming things. We were kind of that generation that like just really didn't care.
Yeah.
Like we were so apathetic and so in our angst and depression and anger and everything. But I think in the end we came out okay.
I think so. We'll tell them that. That's all.
Yeah. That's how we get it. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like millennials though, like apathetic, depressed, careless.
Right.
So we're just recycling. Is
So
that
you
what
get
it's like?
grouped with millennials because you kind of have similarities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you're raised by Gen X. Like I have a lot of similarities with my parents who are boomers, and but they were the younger boomers, and so they were kind of towards the end of it, and so but they raised me very similarly to how they grew up. Like we could be outside playing anywhere as long as you were within earshot of the car horn, and so we each had that. That was my cue to get home. If I was outside of that range, which I often was, my friend who was in the range would hightail it running, hey, your mom's calling you. I'm like, oh, okay. So that was our generation. And then as I got older, it was, I used to be a runner. And so I had like a 1 mile radius around my house because I could run home in a reasonable amount of time. So, but we didn't have cell phones and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so,
No, I mean,
right? Like
yeah,
he's like,
I mean,
wow,
that was the big thing. is we didn't have internet. We had MTV and Nickelodeon. So
Yeah.
those were like our two things.
Okay,
outside
Nickelodeon still prays to be like
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen Nickelodeon in years, but
Yeah.
but like we had no internet, we had no cell phones, and so
You had to trust your neighbor.
yeah,
To find
I
your
mean,
kid.
like
Yeah.
my parents would know. They'd drop me off at the mall,
Yep.
and
Oh,
6
yeah.
hours later pick
Yes,
me up.
sir.
And what happened in
I
those
will
6
meet you.
hours? Like
Yeah, I will meet you at Sears this door because it's
Exactly.
less.
Yeah,
That's
or
what we
JCPenney.
did.
Imagine.
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Or like when I would call my mom to pick me up after school. Okay, I would just say orange door. She's like, okay, because you have to tell a destination where you will be, and you better
Yeah.
be waiting there because if you're not there, you went to see your friend or whatever. Now she has tried to pull up, and you're gone, and she has to park. The last thing you want is a mother coming to find you because she had to park. You don't want to see that face coming towards
Yeah.
you with your friends, so you are in your spot.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and not only, I mean, we talk a lot now in this generation about like helicopter parenting and stuff, but
Oh, boy.
like honestly, we had consequences for the
Yeah.
stuff that we did. Like,
yeah.
like I'll never forget the first time I fell off a trampoline, and it's a miracle to me that I'm not paralyzed from the neck down. Like,
Wow.
Oh.
I mean, we had trampolines with no bumpers
Right,
and no
nets,
nets and
yeah.
no.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right,
And,
right.
and we,
Get all tangled up in
the
there.
slip and slide, like
Oh, yeah,
whoever
what was
invented the
that?
slip and slide was
That was
on
high
drugs.
speed.
yeah, because you're literally like on bumpy, thorny. I mean, this was in the
Yes.
desert for me.
Yes.
So you were in California, right? Or-
No, I was in Illinois.
Oh, okay. Well, for us, it was like
sticks,
thorns,
rocks.
like these,
Wow.
barbed thorns all in the
Genius.
ground and
Oh, yeah.
rocks sticking up. And you'd put a thin piece of plastic down,
with water.
pour some water on it,
Yeah.
and then slide
What could go wrong?
through the yard.
What could go wrong? Honestly.
And this was fun for us. And
Yeah, they had a little wading pool at the. We put a little plastic wading pool at the end, like the bumper
could
one,
kind of-
so we could. Yeah, we'd land and dive. But sometimes you'd overshoot.
but it's the original landing that
Yeah.
hurts the
Yeah.
most.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the scraping and bumping and and that
Fun.
that
Fun.
was fun, but now it's like our
Lawsuit.
kids can't do anything or I'll have them taken away from me
Right.
because I'm whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we had wild times and we were in danger constantly.
And we had fun.
And
though.
we survived.
But it's fun. Fun.
It was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun.
But we also learned to think. See, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
I've heard, and I don't know. I hate to give like a statistic or something,
here we
not
go.
know. But I'll just put it this way. I have heard that the most like pedestrian car accidents are with teenagers crossing the street. And I'm like, why teenagers? And it's because they were used to mom and dad driving them everywhere. And now there's 15, 16, 17 years old and they can walk and get there responsibly, but they haven't learned to cross the street. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that was a thing a few years ago I read back and I'm like, I'm so thankful for Moscow because you guys are up and around and you have to think.
Yeah.
It's important to get those skills while you're young.
Well, and I mean, as a parent, like the first time I ever let Charlie, I mean, and he had a cell phone
Right.
and a tracker. Like I
Right.
could on my phone, I could see exactly where he was.
I got you.
Which actually was a very good thing because he got very lost the first time. But, you know, the very first time, 14 years old, I let him go all the way across town on public transportation. Like, in the States, we wouldn't be able to do that. And,
Right.
and so you guys have gotten an opportunity to have your life skills tested.
And
like,
kind of live like we did.
yeah. It's a lot more like our generation than your generation. I think that's really good.
So you actually could relate to us a little better than you think because you have similar freedoms than we had. You
Yeah.
actually have more because you can get farther on public transportation than we could. So
Well, that's true, but also music better in my generation.
our music is better. Come on now.
Yeah, it
Come on
is.
now. You're still singing our
sorry.
stuff.
Okay. hey. The music is a subjective pastime.
Look me in the eyes.
I'm looking. Music
was better.
People can like people. A lot of people like your music. A lot of people like art. Some music in our. There's a lot more worse music in our generation.
Thank you.
than
Yeah.
there is
I would agree,
Thank
honestly.
you.
in
Thank you.
the other one.
Yeah.
However, people can like whatever they want to like.
That's
however
true.
far.
That's true.
That's true. But
Yeah.
I just noticed at Coffee House, y'all singing our songs. So,
Yeah.
They're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody like every single time.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single time we sing that song.
Yeah, we had. I think what it is we had a lot of variety back then. Where now everything kind of sounds synthetic, and I think
Yeah.
there's an ache and a desire to use the skills and talents that you have. You guys are very musically gifted with all the pianos and the drums and the clarinet and just all the different things that you play, and nobody wants to be on a synthesizer the whole time. And so, like, there's just a skill set that I think is just innate that people want
Well,
to
and the whole
explore.
garage band idea.
Yeah.
Like most of the big bands that made it in our generation started with a couple of guys in their mom's garage.
Yep.
No music lessons.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was just raw
Figure it out.
talent and
Yeah.
passion
Yeah.
and, you know, a real like opposing society. Like there was this attitude behind it of like, you know,
Yeah.
we're gonna
And you can
take
get your
everybody on
emotions
and-
out through that. It's just a different feeling. You know this on an instrument when you are actually producing the sound versus a synthesizer. Like think about playing the clarinet, Moses, versus
Yeah.
a synthesizer.
Yeah,
That's just
it's
not
different.
no. And so I remember when I was a kid, I played the flute, the guitar, and the piano. The only thing I was trained in was the flute. My older brother played the clarinet, the viola, the drums, and the guitar, and a little bit of piano. And my little brother played the saxophone. He focused, but he was really good at the saxophone.
That's
so on
cool.
any given weekend, we were in my mom's house trying to figure out the latest song on the radio, playing it by ear, trying to figure out. We would just rotate locations. Okay, I got this rip. You do this one, and so that's what we did for fun. And we had like the cassette tapes. So we would
Mixtapes.
record. Oh yeah, we're mixing them.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So you know, I had a couple too. So he's like, do I want to record
I'm sorry
that?
you guys missed the whole mixtape thing.
Yeah.
I mean, all you
Yeah.
have to do is make your little Apple Music
Yeah,
playlist and you're
yeah.
good to go. But the care and attention
Yeah.
that we put into our
Oh, my
mixtapes,
goodness.
it was
Yes.
hours and
Yes.
hours.
I had the two decks, whatever it was, and so you would clip songs together. So you'd have to like record parts, and it was just like skipping it. But I made my own little 3-minute something where and it would take me hours and hours. And then I only had a couple tapes, so then it's like, do I want to commit and record over that, or do I keep it? I don't know.
All
it's
these
like,
new problems.
Yeah, it's like it's so stressful.
or recording off the radio because we didn't have
Yeah,
Apple Music.
exactly.
And so I'd have the blank cassette tape and it's
Wait
ready to
for
go.
it.
And
Wait
so
for
all of my
it.
songs, the front end and the back end were chopped off.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
you know,
You don't
it's
know
like,
where the end
it's
is.
coming and you're running across and you're pushing the record button.
Yeah.
So you've missed the first few seconds, but
Yes.
you got the rest of the song.
Yes.
And then they would always start talking
Oh, stop
when the
talking
song
over
is
the song.
ending. So then you've got, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Our next song is...
KZ93.
Exactly.
Like,
And you're like, you're messing up my mixtape. But oh man,
Yeah.
those were the days. Those
This
really
was
were
our
the days.
life. Okay, we got a lot of
Yeah.
exercise.
So sad.
Coming up soon. 3 minutes. Next break. We're gonna.
Yeah.
That was our life. Yeah, but it kept us entertained and out of trouble. So.
Yeah.
All
We always
right.
knew what to give somebody for Valentine's Day.
And then you take those mixtapes and you put in your little Walkman.
Oh,
And you
the
go-
Walkman.
And you put it
Yeah.
on your little headphones
Oh,
and you go
totally.
running.
And then the Discman.
Oh yeah, the discipline
You know.
was the worst though.
Yeah,
because I
it
tried
was.
running with those. It's skip, skip, skip. I'm like, I can't. So you try to
or
run with it
in
real
your car,
still.
in the car, the same thing. You'd come up to like a pothole or something.
Yeah,
you're
it's like,
trying
carefully
to get through quickly because you don't want your discipline to skip.
Yes.
Oh.
So you try running real smooth. So this arm doesn't function. My right arm has the
Yeah, it's
this
like,
man.
don't skip,
Yeah.
So
don't
you're
skip.
just running. You have no idea.
You guys are looking at us right now like you guys are out of your minds.
This were
the problem of our generation.
This is
Wow.
sad, but also kind of great.
Yeah, you don't know what we went through. The pain was real, man.
It would be interesting, like, for us to grow up and then just say to our, like, I don't know, kids or like youngsters that we had to like click here and there and they would just understand.
Meanwhile, they have like telepathically controlled
Yeah.
phones.
I know.
Yeah.
When
But, like,
I
what
was
can we
young-
possibly go to? I mean, now you've got your music is on your watch,
Yes.
your Bluetooth headphones. Like,
Yeah.
If
like
you're
where
rich.
else could we possibly?
Well, Google Glasses where you're just looking at stuff.
You know,
right?
Google Glasses
Yeah.
are dumb, alright?
I don't know. What do I know? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm old,
yeah,
so it's like.
I can't even wrap my mind around it.
No,
Yeah.
and there's like a limited amount of capacity in my brain I want to actually invest to this, which is why I'm glad I have teenage boys. I'm like, Simon, come here, make it do the thing. Okay, thank you. Like I just don't want to do it.
See, that's
It's
when
true.
we become boomers, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be
Yeah.
like, Benny,
Yeah.
help me upload my YouTube
Yeah.
video. Like, no, we're not going to go there.
Now, look,
No.
people
Yeah.
call people boomers just if they act old. Like, we call Lavrov a boomer all the time.
I've been called a boomer.
Yeah, he's a boomer.
For watching Breaking Bad. Like,
Yes.
this is a negative thing that my parents are still cool. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's the other thing, like the whole like negative boomer thing. Like,
Yeah.
like I get it, but the fact of the matter is that boomers, those are the generation that
Made it happen.
rebuilt our country
Oh, yeah,
after
they
World
made,
War II.
they made
Like,
it happen.
Yeah.
all of the things that we as Americans came to enjoy.
Respect, bro. Respect.
It was thanks to them.
Yeah.
So
not wrong.
yeah, I mean, you know, you might have to help your grandpa, like, you know, turn on his DVD or something. But I mean, those people built our country.
Yeah.
So they're,
Yeah.
you know,
And I'll tell you something else. Like, I think about my parents and just conversations that I've had with both of them, really. But I'm just thinking, like, mainly of like some of the deeper things my father has shared with me, because he's a man of few words, and when he does speak, it's pretty deep. Face to face, in person, it never goes out of style. I don't care how old you get. It never goes out of style. This here is nice that we have a podcast that's going to go out, and I'm thankful that we have technology to reach some of our former students.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you guys are doing, because I know a few students who really appreciate this, having to live in the States and hopefully come back and things like that. I appreciate that, but we're still gathered around a circle here having a conversation, and just eye to eye is just never goes out of style.
It doesn't.
Yeah. There always will be like a hunger for like an authentic, like I don't know,
Face to face.
Yeah, an acoustic version of everything.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it.
Unplugged, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I
yeah.
even think about like before I was born, even our family gatherings. I mean, I've only heard of them because I kind of missed this, but our family gatherings were my uncle on the banjo, my grandma on the fiddle,
Yeah.
you know, another uncle on the piano, everybody singing,
Yeah.
and they would have dinner and then they would go on the porch and they would play music for hours.
Yep.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
Like
Sounds amazing.
live,
That's
Yep.
amazing.
quality. I mean, they were all gifted musicians,
Yeah.
and that was their family time.
Yep.
Now we go to grandma's or
Netflix.
even in our own home, and family time is we're all around a screen.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and I just think, man, what must that have been like that, like you say, unplugged, but that raw creativity, and there was nothing else to do. So let's be creative. Let's talk about life, you know. And I just think, man, I wish I always my whole life I've heard the stories and thought, man, I missed that.
Yeah. Well, my dad has 10 brothers and sisters naturally, and then a couple adopted ones, and they're all very gifted musically, and so I love it when my uncles would come over and just sing or play the guitar or whatever. That's wonderful memories to me. And I don't know if I think I've heard this theory before, and I kind of adopted it as my own and took it up a level. Like, I really think that our generation changed in America, and I don't know about other cultures in the world, when we got rid of the front porch and when we got the attached garage and air conditioning. Those three things changed life as we know it. Now, I don't know about other societies and other cultures that grow up in apartment living and things like that. But I do remember I lived in an apartment when I was a kid, and we knew all our neighbors, and we actually, like Simon is looking at it, like we don't know our neighbors, and we don't play with our neighbors. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so we used to hang out. It was nice because, your friends are right next door, and it was really convenient. You didn't have to go outside.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
see 'em.
we lived in an apartment too, and we would just
Yeah.
leave our door open.
Yeah.
We had a neighbor down the causeway,
Right.
and they'd have their door open. Our kids
Exactly.
going back and
Isn't that
forth.
nice?
And,
Yeah, that
yeah, none of this like 3 locks and all that
Right,
kind of stuff.
right.
No.
But when we changed from when I was a kid, we still had a few front porches, and my neighbors were all out on the front porch. So if you got in trouble down the street, your mother knew about it before you got home, for sure, for sure. You better have a good story, before you get home. Walk real slow, and think it's through. And so our neighbors all knew us, and they knew every kid. Like Halloween was great because they had candy for just the regular kids that would come through, but for us, we had a bag with our name on it. You only had to go to 10. You only had to go to 10 houses. You're done. So they really knew us. But now we don't have front porches. People are inside more. They have the attached garage. They come in, they click the button, the garage door opens, they come into their attached garage, they go into the house, air conditioned. You never have to go outside for the heat or anything else, and people don't know each other. And then you get on social media, like Facebook and Instagram, and you think you know somebody, and here's my life, and I'm jealous of his life and her life and whatever, and you really just don't even know what's going on next door. So that has changed the way that we interact. And again, what I like about Hinkson is that we spend a lot of time in that building actually getting to know each other face to face. And then this is just bonus. We can just produce something like this that you guys have thought up and very cleverly put together, and we can still connect this way too. But it's like it's an addition. It's not the main source. And I think the mistake people make is, I'm very social. I'm on this and that and this and all the little apps that I don't even know. It's a tool. It shouldn't be the main course. It's a side dish. Right?
I do think Gen Z people still crave this face-to-face thing. Like, I'll tell you, me, Chuck, and Moses, we appreciate a good jam sesh, okay?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Let me tell you.
I
all right?
appreciate hearing it.
This did not go out of style.
Yeah.
I think people still want that face-to-face. I think that's why, like, Snapchat specifically is so popular right now, because it's just like it's like a face-to-face conversation, but it's like snips of it. You know what I mean? And it's like that's why like in my class it's become like more popular. I think that's why.
Yeah, they're trying. They're still
trying to like
But
sub it.
It's like you said, though. I mean, Generation Z still craves that face-to-face thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I know you guys are big fans of PragerU.
Yeah.
But somebody actually sent me not long ago a little video clip about how Gen Z is the loneliest generation.
Yeah.
It is true.
That statistically that has ever been.
Yeah.
And I mean, how ironic is that? Like,
Yeah.
you guys have more opportunity
Everything.
for interaction than any generation before you. And yet, somehow, this is the loneliest generation.
Yeah.
Because
And
going outside
so-
takes effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put an effort to go outside.
Yeah.
Ew, stop.
I have to talk. I can't just text it.
Come on.
Well, sometimes I remember a couple of years ago, I was telling a student something. Well, if you have any trouble with this homework, whatever, just call me or whatever. And the thought of like actually calling right,
Yeah.
like a conversation.
Yeah.
And she explained to me like, I don't call. Can I just text you or whatever? Because just to initiate that call, it's different to have a voice to voice. Like,
Well, and I think because there's an anxiety.
yeah.
It's like with a text, you can just throw it out there.
And you can think about it.
And not only that, but it's like there's no rejection.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, they can get to you when they get to you, or, you could just kind of like dabble out there a little bit. With a phone conversation, you're all in.
It's vulnerable.
You know?
Yeah, you're
What
very
if I'm
vulnerable.
interrupting them? What if they don't want to talk right now?
I feel like there's more layers to texting though, because like
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
texting late, that's like a message, or
Yeah.
or
Leaving it on red.
Yeah, leaving
that's
it
a
on red.
message.
That's a message, or maybe leaving it on red and then like replying later.
Or like
so,
ending a
there's
text
more
with a
to it.
period. It ends with a period.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Like either
Grammatical correct.
oh, you're
Yeah.
so screwed.
either you're
Yeah.
being like very serious and professional, or you're like upset about something. Like, oh, you put a period.
See,
there's
all
an
this
emoji.
text
But
etiquette is
that's
so
why,
annoying.
like, that's one of the reasons that I prefer texting over calling, just because I've always been that way.
Yeah.
I don't like phone conversations. But the room for misinterpretation and misunderstanding, I feel like losing that tone of voice
Yes.
and the eye contact,
Yes.
like, I can understand so much more where someone's coming from if I can see their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I feel like we offend each other so much more often unnecessarily.
Right.
You know, because you don't get that other layer of
Yeah.
communication.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that because a lot of my friends, so I have like a WhatsApp English chat that I do for just friends that want to learn English. And it's fun for me because I throw out a random question of the day and all these Russians give me their perspective of things that I could think about too. So it's a win-win. However, sometimes their texts, I'm like, I don't think they meant it that way. You know, so I'll go ahead and throw out a voice, an audio text or whatever you call it, audio message. And that way tone of voice comes through. So what I'm hearing you, what I see that you've written was this, and it could sound like this or this, you know, to give them some way to say. But just putting the voice component to it clears up a lot of mistakes because I've made the mistake early on where I'm like, that is highly offensive. Okay, wait, let me check. Let me just check this, right? So it can be really risky to send a text, especially your generation, because you guys know all the rules and I don't. So I'm just sitting, I'm always grammatically correct. I'm a teacher, so I can't handle it. I can't handle all the things. And so I'm it's really, if it's not grammatically correct, I have to throw an emoji in there just so I make sure I'm covered because I don't want to, you know, it's hard for me.
First of all, not even we know all the rules. I promise.
That's
we don't
true.
know the rules either.
Yeah, we're not
Probably
like
do rules
on
all
top
the
of
time.
it.
Second of all, 90% of communication is nonverbal. And so when you have like just the words, you miss 90% of the communication.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's very easy to not know what the other person meant.
I think every text I send out has an emoji in it somewhere because I got to make sure that I'm sure that I'm
Add a
sure.
face. There you go. That's how I'll fix it.
I'm terrible with emojis though.
Oh.
I've sent them sometimes and my kids or my husband are like, that's not really what that meant.
Oh, no.
Okay. Like I used the wrong color heart once or something.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I use the GIFs though, because those are pretty clear, like how I'm feeling, like that. It pretty much says it all. Doesn't it?
GIFs.
I love
The
that.
gifts are
Classic
great.
adult form communication.
I am quite gifted.
All right, thanks for watching.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Stop.
You said that you wanted, impromptu, whatever comes out, so you asked for it.
Okay, well, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I just
Thank
ended
you.
it right there.
I'm gonna end it right there. That's where we're ending.
Shut it down.
It's over. Thank you.
Fun gifting.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to comment and like.
Please
subscribe.
comment. Like more than extra people, just comment, please.
Yeah.
We just need 5 more subscribers, and then we'll have 100.
You'll have means we'll have Junhai. Junhai will have no choice but to come on.
Do they get a free gift with that if they?
What do you mean free gift?
Think about it. We'll consider it.
We're stopping the job.
All right, look at the time.
Look at the time. Okay, if you want to be a guest, talk to me, Moses, or Chuck.
Yes.
We'd love to have you. We're trying to get everybody by the end of the year. And yeah, see you next Monday.
Get a T-shirt.
Get a T-shirt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We want to provide epic merch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do look pretty cool.
They look pretty cool. And they're comfortable. Alright, anyway,
Right.
bye.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Don't say
Thank you
it.
for listening.
Don't do it.
Gift.